Hi there, smart drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about the fundamentals of a road test. These are the absolute minimum skills and techniques that you need to have in place on the day of your road test, or you will not be successful when you take your road test. So we're going to talk about that today. Stick around. We'll be right back with that information. Hi there, smart drivers. Welcome back. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about the fundamentals of a road test. And just hang on here just one sec, because what I'm going to do is just adjust my camera here a little bit, because it's always finicky and it never does what I want it to do. So just bear with me there. There we go. Okay, so we're ready to go. Today we're talking about the fundamentals of a road test. And let's see who's here. Aaron is here. Erin, All About Vehicles, is here. How's it going? Tim is here. Where's the worm? Early bird. Yes, we're earlier. Vinny is here. How is everybody doing after the holidays? Colton is here. So we have a few people who are here and asking questions, and we're going to get going here on the PowerPoint presentation today and get through that and give you the fundamentals of passing a road test, because lots of you are getting going with your New Year's resolution to get in the vehicle and actually get your license. So welcome to the live stream. Welcome to Smart Drive Test. If you're new at Smart Drive Test and just tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from in the world. As well, consider subscribing. Smart Drive Test helps new drivers get a license, veteran drivers to remain crash-free, and CDL drivers to start a career as a truck or bus driver. So consider subscribing, hit that bell as well, give it a thumbs up if you like what's going on here. Travel and Gaming is here. That's Colin. Colin is one of the moderators here, and he's helping us out to keep out all the bad people who sometimes use language that's not really PG. So lots of other people tuning in here. Katina, Shinnery, Wayne, Jonathan, good thing you're live streaming. Let me see. I've just been hired as a school bus driver. Glad you're streaming before I go to bed. Excellent. That's great, Jonathan. Yeah, we moved it up a little bit, Jonathan, to try and get some of the people out on the East Coast there. And Tim is here as well, and that is Basic Joomla Tutorials. And if you're looking for a Joomla website, Tim is definitely your guy. All right. And Sono is watching from Italy. Excellent. Where are you from in Italy? Just let me know that there in the comments. So yes, excellent. Lots going on here. And New York City. So lots of people here. So again, if you're just tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from in the world. Yes, excellent. Jelani is from Michigan, Kingston. And where is Corey? Corey probably didn't get the email and still thought that the live stream was at 6 p.m. So yes. Passed my road test 2 weeks ago. Colton, that is awesome. Congratulations on passing your road test. That's really great. And we'll definitely give you some information, because all of the information today is not just applicable to the fundamentals of passing a road test. It also applicable to staying crash-free after you get your license. And these are the basic fundamentals of any safe driving course. So we're going to talk about that. So got my driver's license, Lunette. Excellent. That's great. And Vinny is from Windsor, Ontario there, just across the river from Detroit, Michigan. So yes, excellent. Lots of great people here. So just bear with me here. We're going to get over to the PowerPoint presentation and talk about road test fundamentals. And this is the face that you make if you are not successful on your road test. You're wondering what happened, what went wrong, and you're really not listening to the feedback that the driving examiner is giving you if you've been unsuccessful on your road test. So you do not want to have this face. You want to have a big happy face after your road test. So today we're going to give you some of that information here about how to pass a road test. So my name is Rick August. For those of you who are new here at Smart Drive Test, I do have a PhD. I was a truck driver in the 1990s. I drove LTL freight up and down the east coast of the United States and Canada. LTL stands for less than load, which simply means that you got 8 or 10 drops on a truck. I moved to Australia in 2002 and went to university there. While I was there, I drove coaches for Greyhound. This is a picture of me when I still had hair and when I was driving coaches for Greyhound. And I also drove for a regional bus line there as well, V-Line, which is an interstate bus line that connects the trains in the state of Victoria. So yes, and I became a licensed commercial driving instructor in 1998. So I've been a driving instructor for almost 20 years now, and I have a doctorate in legal history For those of you who don't know, legal history is the study of policing, courts, and prisons, and my expertise is in policing as it relates to traffic, oddly enough, because I'm that nerd that just really likes traffic and traffic safety. Now, for those of you who have passed the road test, and Colin can find this for you, the URL, put that up for you, the Smart Drive Test 100K campaign. And I have been negligent in this. We've kind of had a soft start to the 100K campaign, so I'm going to do more work with this. I'm going to get this going here in the month of January, and basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to help out 100,000 drivers earn their license in the next year, and I need a big push to get to that goal, because pretty tough to get people going here, but we're definitely going to get on top of that, and we're going to get that going. So check out the URL, and if you have passed your license, head over to the Smart Drive Test website and sign up for that and let us know that you were successful. Now, the first thing you need to know for your road test is you need to know road signs, and you're not just a general overview of road signs, but you need to know road signs in and around the test center where you're going to be taking your test. So you need to know the basic information that these signs are conveying to you, because if you know road signs and you can implement the information that the road sign is conveying early enough, you can be more proactive in your driving as opposed to reactive. For example, if you're looking down the road and you know that there's a merge sign down there, you can get over before you get right up against where you get stuck out or something like that, because you didn't see the merge sign and you have to move over to the other lane, because it goes from 2 lanes to 1 lane. So you can be proactive in your driving, and this is going to make you look much better on a road test. You also need to know where the speed signs are, because for the purposes of a road test, you need to manage speed. You either need to do the posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less. So you need to take note of the speed signs while you're driving in and around the test center, especially now that school is in. You need to know where schools are, and you need to know the speed signs for school areas, because if you speed in a school zone on your road test, that is an automatic fail, so know that. You need to know the correct stopping positions, and Colin will get the video up for you on where to stop at a stop sign and what the correct position is. And the location of the stop sign itself does not have anything to do with where you stop at a stop sign. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the section on space management. And you need to merge, and you need to know the rules for basic right-of-way. And I've noticed in the last little bit that some people are confused between two-way stops and four-way stops, and you need to understand the different rules that apply for those different types of intersections, because they are different between two-way stops and four-way stop signed intersections. All right. Now, the fundamentals, these are the 4 basic components of any road test anywhere in the world, regardless of class. It doesn't matter what class of license you're going for, whether it's a car license, a bus license, a truck license, a motorcycle license. These are the 4 fundamental components that you need to know for any road test: speed management, space management, observation, and communication. And we're going to talk about each one of these for the purposes of passing a road test and for the purposes of being successful on that road test. The first one is speed management. You need to do either the posted speed limit or the flow of traffic, whichever is less. And when you pull out from an intersection and say, for example, you're turning right, you need to get the vehicle up to speed as quickly as possible, and you need to maintain the posted speed limit. So if the posted speed limit is 50 kilometers an hour, 30 miles an hour, you need to adhere to that as much as possible. You only have a tolerance of about 2 or 3 miles an hour or 2 or 3 kilometers an hour. So you need to practice this for the purposes of a road test, because it's very easy to succumb to the pressures of social driving. And if the traffic flow, I can almost guarantee that the traffic flow is traveling 5 to 10 kilometers an hour faster than the speed limit, or 5 to 10 miles an hour. So you need to resist that, and you need to drive the posted speed limit for the purposes of a road test. When can you drive slower on a road test? If you're in a residential area and there's parked cars on both sides and it's difficult to see the sidewalk behind the parked cars, then you can go a bit slower if the road is narrow, but not a lot, maybe 5, maybe 10 at the most kilometers less than the posted speed limit. As well, know that in residential, inside an urban center in a city, the posted speed limit is 30 miles an hour or 50 kilometers an hour unless otherwise posted. And outside of the city, it's 80 kilometers an hour, 50 miles an hour unless otherwise posted. So do know where the speed signs are. The other place that you could go a bit slower, potentially cover the brake if you see any hazard in your path, is areas along the route where there's high pedestrian traffic. If there's a lot of pedestrian traffic, then you're justified in going slower as well. All right, space management. If you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit anything. And if you get near other objects, fixed objects, or other road users for your road test, and you get what I call the pucker factor on the part of the examiner, where the examiner grabs the seat, the old crap handles in the car and goes, that's very bad when the examiner does that. And it's unlikely that you're going to recover from that. So try and stay away from fixed objects and other road users on the roadway. So for the purposes of space management on a road test, you need to know the correct stopping positions at a stop sign intersection, before the stop line, before the crosswalk or sidewalk, and if those two things don't exist, then where the edge where the two roads meet. You need to have a 2 to 3 second following distance minimum. As road conditions deteriorate, you need to increase that following distance. And for the purposes of a road test, you need 1 lane of buffer space between you and pedestrians. For example, if you're turning right at an intersection, you need to wait for, and say it's 2 lanes where you're turning into, going in the same direction, you need to wait for the pedestrian to get to the center of the road before you can turn. And that's when pedestrians are going away from you, not when they're moving towards you. If they're moving towards you, you probably have to wait for them to cross the entire road before you turn, depending on the situation. And again, that's going to depend, it's every situation is going to require some decision making on your part. And this is why I say again and again, for students who are going for road tests, practice, practice, practice. The next one is observation. You need to have a scanning pattern in place. You need to be looking far down the road. Check the instrument panel, far down the road, come in, check your center mirror, far down the road, both sides to both shoulders of the road, into the car, check your wing mirror, and then repeat that scanning pattern again while you're driving straight forward. Anytime that you move the vehicle laterally, so for any time you make a lane change or you turn the car, you need to shoulder check. You need to shoulder check approximately half a block where you're going to turn, and then you need to shoulder check again. So every time that you make a lateral movement or a turn, you need to shoulder check a minimum of 2 times. And Colin will get the video up for you on how to shoulder check. Have a look at that. Anytime you do a slow speed maneuver, the slow speed maneuvers that you're required for the purposes of your road test, parallel parking, 2-point reverse turn, 3-point turn, you need to do a 360-degree scan before you start backing up the vehicle. You need to look out the back window when you're reversing, and you need to look out the back window for approximately every vehicle length, then stop the vehicle, do a 360-degree scan, and then continue to back up again. And that is how you do observation for the purposes of your road test. And you must shoulder check to check your blind spots to make sure that there aren't other road users, riders, bicyclists, and people on scooters and pedestrians aren't in your blind spots when you're moving laterally, or other vehicles and those types of things. And that's the reason that you have to shoulder check. All right. For the purposes, there's a video, there's one here I missed. Where'd it go? Sorry about that. Apologies. Observation. I'm looking for communication. Where'd my communication slide go? All right, communication. I've missed a slide here somewhere. Sorry about that. My apologies. It's not here. Okay, communication. I'll just go over this, and I'll put the slide up when I amend the video. So communication, there's 5 things that you need to do for communication: lights and signals, eye contact, hand gestures. Don't tell people that you're number 1 on a road test. If you're unsure and you want to wave a pedestrian through, for example, then you hand gestures. And then finally, the position of your vehicle on the roadway will indicate what you're doing. If you're in the left turning lane, for example, it's almost certain that you're going to be making a left-hand turn. And then finally, horn, but you want to use the horn sparingly, just to get somebody's attention or whatnot, because unfortunately in this day and age, a horn is seen as an act of aggression, not a form of communication on a road test. And all right, so the purposes of a road test, your job is to take away the examiner's right to fail you, nothing more, nothing less. And basically what you have to do is you have to demonstrate to the examiner that you have due care and control of the vehicle in changing traffic situations. And the way to do this is to practice, practice, practice. And oftentimes students will have difficulty turning, maneuvering the vehicle in required slow speed maneuvers and whatnot. And I always tell them to have a look at this video on Learn to Drive. Go down to your local rental shop and get some of those 36-inch, 1-meter tall pylons, and go to a parking lot and practice your slow speed maneuvers with pylons. Because if you hit a pylon, it's not a big deal, okay? and as well that will teach you where the vehicle is in space and place. Finally, the other way to ensure that you have success, if you're not taking driving lessons for the purposes of your road test, book a practice driving test with a local driving school. You'll have to book it 3 weeks out to get it the day you want it. Book it 7 to 10 days before your test, and the instructor will do an assessment of your skills and abilities in preparation for passing a road test. Remember, driving instructors teach people how to pass a road test, and they know all of the nuances in and around your test center. They know exactly what the examiners are looking for. So book a practice road test, and these are inexpensive. Sam at Rookie Auto Driving School there in the Bronx, where he teaches, it's only about $20, and it's really inexpensive. And again, it just saves you rebuilding your confidence if you're unsuccessful on a road test, and this will almost always guarantee that you're going to be successful on your road test. So do that. So good luck on your road test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. And we'll just head back over here. There we go. And I'll answer any questions that people have for the road test. And essentially that's the presentation. And Corey is here, Bricks for Wheels. That's Corey. He's also one of the other moderators. I want to thank Corey for doing that. All right. Lucky, passed my CDL permit. Going to training school next month. Is it advisable to go through company trained CDL program because I can't afford paying out of my pocket? Please advise. Yes, Lucky, if you can find a truck driving company that will train you, that's going to be your best bet, because not only are they going to pay to put you through truck driving school, they're also going to give you a job and put you through a mentor program when you're finished getting your license. And that is really going to help you out, because truck driving school teaches you how to pass the road test. They don't teach you how to drive a truck, and there's a lot of other pieces about driving a truck that is much easier to learn if you have somebody who's a veteran and can teach you the ropes, teach you how to do bills of lading, how to do border crossing documents, how to do fatigue management, how to fill out logbooks, how to get into truck stops, all of those types of things. So in my mind, if you can find a truck driving company that will do that, that's going to be your best bet. Marion, how I wish you were closer to me in Virginia. Well, I do too, Marion. I wish I could help you out there. But we can certainly help you out here on the channel. All kinds of information and any questions that you might have, we can certainly help you with that. All right? Okay, bear with me. I'm still not happy with the... Just turn that down a little bit there. There we go. We'll try that and see if that works for us. There we go. Okay. Elevators, already done that. Congratulations, Jonathan. There we go. Okay. Driver's license and CDL later this year. Excellent. Okay, so that's really great. And if you have any questions about passing your road test, please leave a comment there, and we'll help you out with that. Liam, what would you suggest doing on a road test if there's an object or illegally parked vehicle on the road that blocks your lane with no passing markings? What do you do? What do the examiners want to see? The examiners, Liam, you're going to have to go around that vehicle. If there is another vehicle or obstruction in the roadway, you're going to have to pass that. And Corey will get the video up for you here. There's a video here on how to change lanes and pass a fixed object or something else on your road test that you're going to have to do for the purposes of doing exactly what you're saying. If somebody is double parked or something like that, you're going to have to use caution. You're going to have to go around that vehicle. So there's a way to do that, and that will help you out. Sarah, how can you get used to driving if you really don't have no one to teach you besides driving school? Okay, so Sarah, the other way you can do is you can find friends, you can find seniors who have cars, put up a sign at your local school. There's always somebody who might be able to help you out in terms of driving and helping you to get driving experience. And actually, what I need to do is I need to put some sort of source on my website for people who don't have access to people who can help them out with their driving. And if the smart drivers here, if you're watching on the replay or you're watching now and you have any suggestions about how people can get more driving experience from friends, family, seniors, those types of things, all of that helps out the drivers who are working towards getting their license, because my fundamental belief, my professional opinion about helping people to learn how to drive and learn how to drive better is to get much more practice. The more practice you get driving, and practice driving different vehicles, practice driving in different traffic situations, the better driver you're going to be and the better prepared you're going to be to take your road test and be successful on that road test. So try and get as much practice as you can. All right. Excellent. Okay, so yes, elevators, if you can, that's really great. Congratulations on passing your road test. Awesome. And let us know if you have any road trips planned and to celebrate passing of your road test, because there's nothing more fun than taking your first drive after you get your license. It's really great. Okay, Jaden, by the way, I talked to the police officer and he said flashing green, white, amber, purple flashing are not illegal to install a vehicle including license plates. So what do you, okay, maybe Jaden, I missed your comment above. You don't have a comment above. Okay, Jaden, what are you talking about there in terms of flashing green? Some vehicles, some states it is, maybe not in Florida where you are, Jaden, but it is in some other places. Okay, what else we got here? Krista, you are most welcome. So your road test is in 2 weeks and it's raining pretty hard here in California. How can I be more careful and pass? Okay, so Krista, essentially what you want to do is you want to practice as much as possible between now and the time of your road test for certain. The other thing you want to do, Kristen, you might want to do this in a parking lot, is you want to be able to work the secondary controls. So if you do take your road test and the windows begin to fog up, or it starts to rain and you need to turn the windshield wipers on and those types of things, you simply need to go into a parking lot and you need to work the primary controls. For example, the steering wheel, the throttle, and the brake. But at one and the same time, you have to be able to turn the windshield wipers on without looking down from the roadway. You have to be able to turn the defrost on without looking down at the roadway. So have a look. Corey or Kellen will get the video up for you on the secondary controls in the vehicle, and just go into a parking lot and just drive up and down the parking lot and practice doing that. Practice turning on the windshield wipers, practice squirting the windshield with windshield washer fluid, practice turning the heat and the defrost on, practice whatever other controls you have in the vehicle and those types of things. Don't, make sure your seat is adjusted before you get in the vehicle and those types of things. But some of those secondary controls that you're going to need while you're driving, practice that before you go down for your road test in case any of that happens, and then you're ready to go on the day of your road test. Lucky, thanks for the information. I am leaving for training next month with a reputable trucking company. I just wanted to hear from your advice. I really appreciate it. You're most welcome, Lucky. Anything we can do to help you out. And if you have any questions while you're on the road, you can certainly get in touch with us through social media on Facebook, Twitter, here on the YouTube channel. And we're always happy to help you out with any questions that you might have. All right, June, I'm waiting for employment agency to okay funding for CDL school. In the meantime, what are some tips to get pre-hires from trucking companies? I live in Michigan. Okay, June, basically the thing that you want to do in terms of getting pre-hired by a trucking company is just get on the phone and make as many phone calls as you can. Talk to as many people you can about getting a CDL license and saying that you want to start a career as a CDL driver, because the more people you talk to, the more success you're going to have in terms of your cold calling. And the other thing, June, I know it can be a bit intimidating for cold calling people, but people are more than willing to help you out, especially when it comes to employment and those types of things. And when you're talking to these people, be very polite. You might even want to send them a thank you note if they did actually spend some time, because some people will spend some time. They'll spend 15 or 20 minutes with you, and if they don't have anything or they can't help you out, say, listen, do you know anyone else that I can talk to? Because remember, keep in mind that all these trucking companies, the people that work at these trucking companies, they all know each other. So the person may not be able to help you out, but they do know somebody else that you can call that will help you out. Okay, so know that as well. So just call as many people as you can, get on the internet, check out their websites and those types of things. And when you're talking to trucking companies, do a bit of research on the trucking company and know a bit of information about them. Know how many tractors they have, for example. Know which states they're operating in or provinces, whether they run U.S. and Canada, what kind of work they do. Do they run local? Do they run regional? Do they run long haul? What kind of work do they do? So know those kinds of things when you're talking to different trucking companies. Sony, I have my test in 2 days and I discovered your channel recently. I'm wondering if you have any videos for reverse and front parking, especially as that's my main trouble area. Yes, we do, Sony. We certainly do. Reverse stall parking, we have those videos available, and Corey will get those up for you. Sugar Cat, I have my test coming up in June. Stresses, but also excited. Yes, exciting. You got lots of time to practice for June. Excellent. Liam, for a brand new driver who has access to manual transmission car and an automatic transmission, which would you suggest starting to learn with? Liam, you can learn to drive with both of them, but if you're working towards your license, I would really suggest that you spend the bulk of your time on your automatic and work on getting your license. After you get your license, then I would counsel you to start learning how to drive manual transmission after that. I'm not saying it's not going to hurt, but my suggestion is to learn and pass your road test on automatic, and then after you finish the automatic, then you can learn to drive standard. Okay, Rhea, my road test is on Thursday. Hopefully I can pass it. Yes, absolutely, you're going to pass, Rhea. You're going to do really great, and all the best. Good luck on that, and you're going to do great. Okay, elevators, yes it does take a bit of time. Okay, so Rhea, you're going to do great. Just focus on what you want to do and visualize yourself passing that road test. You're going to do great. Okay, Jonathan, I was lucky to get hired at a school bus company called Independent Coach Corp. It's close to home, and I can drive long buses, school buses, and wheelchair lifts, and designated buses, which are SUVs. Excellent. So that sounds really great that you got a great job there, Jonathan. Let us know how it works out for you, and if we can help you out with anything, by all means, let us know, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. Epic, Happy New Year to you as well, my friend. For someone that has tried to take a driving test and failed, what's the best way to prevent being nervous on the test? Is a driving school instructor or other tips? Epic, one of the things that I really suggest that you do, you're not going to eliminate your nerves or your fear on the road test. We all have some fear and trepidation for a road test. But the best thing to do is to practice as much as you can. Make sure that you do a practice driving test with a local driving instructor if you haven't taken driving lessons. And that way they're going to be able to assess your abilities and say, listen, everything's good. You just need to focus on making sure that you shoulder check twice for every turn and lateral movements and those types of things. So, the more practice you can get, the better prepared you're going to be and the more confident you're going to be. Now, the other thing, of course, is that we're going to be nervous on test day. So you need to breathe. You need to put some strategies in place. Make sure that you have everything checked out the night before. Make sure you check out your vehicle. Make sure it's safe and that it's clean before you go down for your road test. And that way that's not going to cause you any added stress and those types of things. Show up early. Have your identification. Go to the bathroom before your road test because, it's really tough, especially if you got to pee or something like that. Trying to drive a vehicle where you have your legs crossed and whatnot. So, just the more practice you can get and the more confidence you can get before you go down on road test day, all of that's going to help alleviate your nerves. But know that you're going to be nervous. And the other thing that I suggest to students as well is one of the things to help with your nervousness is to try and get people that you're not familiar with or you don't know to drive around with you in the vehicle and give you directions. That way you're going to be more comfortable. It's kind of like practicing a speech. We're all nervous when we're practicing a speech, and if you can practice it in front of more and more people, then you're going to be more and more comfortable when you actually deliver the speech, and that's going to reduce your nerves and whatnot because it's going to build your confidence because you've practiced more, and that's really going to help you with your road test. Corey, and with CDL drivers in being high demand and short supply, reportedly should also help with cold calling. Yes, exactly. That's a good point, Corey. Jaden, I found out that the plus in the minus option, shifting manual option, but you get this no clutch. I didn't follow that, Jaden. You might have to reword that for me. Jonathan, CDL drivers are short because the pay and benefits aren't as good as they were in the past. I spoke to an old truck driver who told me this. Other CDL drivers said the same thing to me. Okay, let's talk about the driver shortage that's been around for half a century now. There's always been a driver shortage for truck drivers. The driver shortage for truck drivers is mostly in long haul. It's not in regional work and it's not in local work. And I take umbrage with the amount of pay that drivers receive. For very little education, I mean, many truck drivers only have a high school education. I'm not sure of too many other places where you can go and get a license, and for your return on investment, you spend about $5,000 to get a CDL license, and within 3 or 4 months, you can go to work for a company like Schneider National out of Wisconsin in the United States of America and make $75,000 a year. $75,000 a year running long haul. I do not know too many other jobs that you can do that, spend $5,000, get yourself trained, get a license, and go to work, and within 3 to 6 months be making $75,000 a year. I just don't. And if any of you as the smart drivers watching here today, or any of the smart drivers who are watching on the replay, if you know any other job that you can do that and make $75,000 a year, let me know, because I don't know too many jobs that you can do that. So when old truck drivers say, oh, I don't make any money, they're just not making as much money as they'd like to make. And, it kind of comes back to the viewpoint on life. If you think that your life is all negative and you're being screwed and that kind of thing, and life is miserable and your glass is only half full, then you're probably not going to make much money. But on the other hand, if you think you've got a great job and you're making a lot of money and the world, the skies are mostly sunny, then your outlook on life is probably going to be good. And I'm not saying that truck driving isn't a tough job. It is a tough job and it's a lot of work, but there's few other jobs that you can make that kind of money in that short amount of time for those set of skills. So when old truck drivers say that, I get a little bit upset, because it's a good job for a lot of people, and a lot of people really like driving truck and they don't know how to do anything else. So yeah, there isn't and now the other point that I want to make about this is that there is not a driver shortage. There's a driver retention problem. Let me repeat that. There's not a truck driver shortage. There's a driver retention problem. The problem is that many of these companies do not treat their employees well enough, and they simply leave and they go somewhere else, because many of these companies have not figured out how to say thank you sincerely to their truck drivers. And unfortunately, a lot of the shippers, a lot of the dispatchers, and other people think that truck drivers are dispensable and do not treat them as well as they should be treated. And when truck drivers are treated badly, you could pay them $100,000 a year and they would still, it's still not enough. You just don't want to do it for the money. So we have a driver retention problem. We don't have a driver shortage problem. There's plenty of drivers around. It's just whether they want to do the work or not, and whether they want to be treated badly. Okay, so hopefully that helps a little bit. Cody, finally cut your live stream. Awesome to see you. Excellent, Cody. I'm glad you could finally show up. We did change the time today. We're a little bit earlier today to try and catch some people there on the West Coast. I only spent $850 on a package deal at a commercial driving school where I'm at and passed. Best part, I didn't pay it out of my pocket, which makes me proud. There you go. So Jonathan got his license for less than $1,000. Okay, Jaden. Somebody put a big spoiler on your Prius. That's funny. Percy. Driving school. Percy, which driving school are you talking about? Are you talking about for your passenger vehicle, or are you talking for CDL license? That makes a difference. Deborah, is it hard to learn how to do a safe start for the air brakes if there are so many steps that it seems confusing? Yeah, Deborah, air brakes are confusing, no doubt. They're the most technical driving course that we have in, sort of all of the courses of driver training. But watch some of my videos, and this week I'm going to get up my book for sale. Actually, if you send me an email, Deborah, I'll show you that. The book is I'll sell it to you for $20, and that will go through step by step on how to pass your CDL air brakes. And I try to come up with as many easy explanations as I can to explain air brakes to you so that you will be successful. And it's step-by-step instructions for pre-trip inspection, step-by-step instructions for how to do your inspections in the cab, which is the most difficult because it's pure memorization. As well, there's a glossary of all the terms. There's a list of all of the valves. So the book is very comprehensive in helping you pass your CDL air brakes. Jay, seatbelt brakes, valves, neutral. That's your safe start. Yes, there we go. Corey, imagine regional local work is a bit more challenging versus long haul. It can be, Corey, regional local work can be a bit more challenging at the beginning, especially when you don't know where a lot of these places are and how to get into the loading docks and those types of things. So yeah, it can be a bit more challenging at the beginning, but I mean, long haul has its challenges as well. So every type of work has its different kinds of challenges. I mean, the other thing with a road tractor, and you got a sleeper on the back and a 53-foot trailer, is trying to get it around a city or an urban area. Those types of things, that can be a bit of a challenge. So you know, regional or local work, yes, that can be a bit of a challenge too. And you're always driving in the city, you're up and down through the gears. But I mean, we're moving more and more towards automatic trucks, especially for the work that is being done in cities. So that is making that a little bit easier in terms of you know, doing local work and whatnot. So all of that helps out. Cody, do you have to do school zone speed limit if the school is on winter summer break? No, Cody, that's a good question. If you are driving to pass your road test, if you're taking your road test, in other words, and you're in a school zone and school's not in session, then no, you don't have to do the posted speed limit for that school zone. You simply have to drive whatever it is, 50 kilometers an hour or whatnot. So know that for the purposes of a road test. Okay, so we've got a lot of CDL questions today, and I'll just quickly go over the 5 components of passing a CDL license and going to truck driving school. So essentially, the 5 components for a truck driving school are turning, shifting, pre-trip inspection, backing, and coupling, hooking and unhooking the trailer. So turning is going to be your biggest challenge because you got to get a 75-foot vehicle in and around a city area, because this is where most of the test centers are, and you're going to take your test inside a city area. Right turns are going to be your biggest challenge because obviously you don't have as much space as you do on a left turn, because you can use the space in an intersection, but you need to be able to get that truck around the corner. Now, unfortunately, what happens at a lot of truck driving schools is time is limited because students don't have money, they don't get funding, those types of things. So the turning, which is the most important aspect of CDL school, learning to drive a truck, is eclipsed by shifting. And if you're learning to shift on a non-synchronous transmission, that takes all of your time and energy. So new drivers spend a lot of time learning how to shift the truck, and that's the hardest thing for them. So that's the second thing, is that you have to learn how to shift a non-synchronous transmission. The third thing you have to do is pre-trip inspection. After you do pre-trip inspection 2 or 3 times, you go through the whole thing 2 or 3 times, then it's fairly easy. It's just a matter of, you know, rinse, wash, rinse, repeat. Okay, so it's just memorization, and there are some videos here, and I'm going to get some videos up for you on pre-trip inspection this year. All right, and then backing, and backing depends on the test center where you're taking your CDL test. Some of them it's just a straight back. I know here in Vernon it's just a straight back, and it's quite easy. You just got to back the truck up 50 feet, and as long as you can hold the steering wheel straight, you're going to be able to back up. Victoria, where I taught, it was a parallel park, which is a lot harder in terms of backing up. And then in London, Ontario, where I taught, you had to back around a corner. So it was a site-side back around, which is a little more complicated, but not impossible. Okay, and then hook and unhook, and you have to be able to hook the trailer and unhook the trailer and do that well for the purposes of your road test. So that's the 5 components: turning, shifting, pre-trip inspection, backing, hook, and unhook. And just one other point I'll make about backing up a semi-trailer is that all of the principles of backing up a truck and trailer are the same as backing up a semi-trailer. You just need a bit more room. So if you can get a hold of a truck and trailer, any truck and trailer, pickup truck and a trailer, then you can learn how to back up, and that will transfer. Those skills will transfer into a semi-trailer. It's just you have to learn how to use the mirrors and those types of things. So those are the 5 components of passing a CDL license and going to truck driving school. Edgar, thank you so much for the Super Chat. Super Chat is also available, and we are always open to contributions and love contributions and people supporting the channel. And as well, I'll just go back and say the 100K campaign, where we're helping 100,000 drivers to pass the road test in 2019. If you make a donation, the donation is going to go to help road crash victims to purchase anything that they might need to get themselves back to driving. And so we're going to do that as well. So please consider making a donation. Even a small donation is going to help us out and help us to achieve our goal in the 100K campaign. And if you're watching on the replay, if you're just tuning in here at Smart Drive Test and you're new to Smart Drive Test, again, Smart Drive Test helps new drivers get a license, veteran drivers to remain crash-free, and CDL drivers to start a career as a truck or bus driver. So consider subscribing, hit that thumbs up button, or leave a comment and share us around on social media. all of that helps out all the drivers in the world who are going for the road test and to be successful. Jennifer, how do you reverse park every time I'm doing it with my instructor? I can never go straight. I'm always in the middle of the street or too close to the curb. Okay, so parallel parking. Oh, Jennifer, you need the parallel park video. You're talking about reverse parallel parking is what you're looking at. Yes. So essentially what you do, probably what you're not doing, Jennifer, when you back into the space is you're not getting the steering wheel around to the left enough to bring the front end in and get the vehicle straight. That's probably why you're not straight for the purposes of practicing with your driving instructor. Okay? Jaden, I'm going to take a video of the police flash patterns on the car in Roblox. Excellent, Jaden. Post that up over on Facebook. We'd love to see that. Excellent. Yes, there we go, Jennifer. And Corey, I'm pretty sure that Jennifer's talking about parallel parking. I don't think she's talking about just reversing, okay? Tiffany, how are you, Tiffany? Excellent. Welcome to the live stream. And Cody, do you have... Okay, we already answered that question. Excellent. And okay, so we'll just go back to the CDL driver training for a minute. We talked about the 5 components of a CDL road test. Turning, shifting, pre-trip inspection, coupling, hook and unhook the trailer, and backing up. One other piece that you need to do, obviously, if you're driving a truck or bus fitted with air brakes, you will have to do your CDL air brakes as well. And we do have a course over at the Smart Drive Test website, which is a comprehensive course, and it also has a list of valves because the valves can be very confusing for students about what their names are and what the valves do, because you do need the basic understanding of these valves in the air brake system. And the unfortunate part about the air brakes course, all of the courses in North America are 40-year-old air brake courses, and a lot of this information in the air brake course is redundant. It's no longer it's no longer valid in this day and age. For example, today somebody was telling me about compounding the brakes. This is something left over from 20 years ago. Most air brake fitted vehicles in this day and age, you cannot compound the brakes. And essentially what compounding the brakes means in an air brake system is that the parking brakes are applied and you make a service brake application. And so what happens is that the spring pressure is applying the brakes and the air pressure. And you potentially could do damage to the air brake components. But in this day and age, all air brake systems are fitted with anti-compounding valves. So if the parking brakes are applied and you make a service brake application, it just exhausts the air from the system. So this is some of the misinformation, and this is the other thing that I tell you in the book, Air Brakes Explained Simply, is that I go through and I itemize the information. I itemize it in must know, should know, could know, and your CDL test. So must know is the stuff that's going to get you home to your family at the end of the week safely. The should know, or the must know, could know, must know, should know, sorry, is the CDL test. What you need to know absolutely for the CDL test. And that information you can forget after you finish your test. For example, compounding the brakes, manual front wheel limiting valves. These things are no longer on air brake systems. So I break that down and tell you exactly what you need to pass your air brakes for your CDL test in the Air Brakes Explained Simply that I'm going to release this week. Okay? And we're going to get that going. Dean, can you help with parallel parking? Absolutely, we can help you with parallel parking, Dean. And have a look at the video here on parallel parking. Excuse me. Have a look at the video on parallel parking. Essentially what you do is you find a space that's approximately 1.5 vehicle lengths of your vehicle. Pull up to beside the vehicle in front of you, in front of the space. And line up the mirrors, okay? So essentially you want to line up the mirrors and line up the back of the vehicle. You want to automatically put your right signal on as you're approaching the space, and you want to put it into reverse as soon as you pull up beside the other vehicle, in position beside the other vehicle. You want to locate a 45-degree marker off near where the post is on the front of the driver's door. And 45 degrees, if you point straight out and point straight out to the side, 45 is in the middle. Okay, once you find your 45, turn the steering wheel all the way to the right and back up until you are facing directly at your 45-degree mark. Straighten your wheels out, back in, and it's going to depend. There's going to be some variables about the vehicle that you're parking in behind. a third to halfway down the hood. When you get a third to halfway down the hood, turn your steering wheel all the way to the left, back into the space until the vehicle is straight, and then pull forward and adjust. And that's how you do the parallel parking. And I go through that step by step in the video on parallel parking. So have a look at that for the purposes of passing your road test, because almost every test center in the United States and in Canada and other places in the world, parallel parking is one of the fundamental components of a road test. And we know that parallel parking can be a bit daunting for new drivers, but it demonstrates to the examiner that you have due care and control of the vehicle. That's why we continue to do it, for the purposes of a road test. All right, Tommy, is 6 going to be the new time that you do live streams from now on? I don't know, Tommy. I'm trying this out as a new time slot for the live stream to see how it's going. So far, I seem to have a lot of people on the live stream. So this might be the new time for the live stream because it works out that it's 6 o'clock for those of you on the East Coast. So we'll get a bit of feedback. So again, for those of you on the live stream right now, for those of you watching on the replay, if 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time or 6 p.m. Eastern Time is a better time slot for you, just leave a comment down in the comment section there, or leave a comment there that's saying, yes, I like this time slot better, and I'll consider moving it permanently to this time on Sundays. Okay? Because essentially what I'm trying to do is do the live stream on Sunday, and then I can answer any questions for people who have a road test coming up during the week, and that helps them out and, you know, sort of answers any last minute questions they might have. That's the reason that I'm doing the live stream. Okay? Jaden, good news. I'm going back to school, and I might take the picture I was talking about. Excellent. Congratulations on going back to school, Jaden. That's awesome. Jennifer, any tips before going to take my road test? I'm super nervous about taking it, even though I've taken a lot of classes. Jennifer, just relax, breathe, visualize yourself being successful on your test. And remember to breathe. Know that you can do it. Just remember those 4 most powerful words in the English language. I can do this. I can do this. Very positive about what you're going to do. Know that you're going to be nervous. That's okay. Okay? We're all nervous. Okay? Believe it or not, I get nervous doing the live streams. I get nervous in the 5 minutes before it when I got to sit down and I got to turn this thing on. You know, and you just take a breath. I can do this. And you move forward. Okay? So you're going to be great. You're going to be great. Carter, do you know anyone here in Stratford, Kentucky, a driving instructor? Because we don't have driving schools here. I can only practice with my friend once a week. I'm so frustrated. Oh, Stanford, not Stratford. My apologies, Carter. Interesting that you... I'll look that up for you, Stanford. And I'm sorry, Carter. You're in Stanford. Your name's not Stanford. I'll look that up for you and see what I can find for you. Just send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest.com, and remind me, because I got a lot of little things going on here this week. Then unfortunately, a couple things have fallen off, but I'll see what I can do to help you out. Okay? Cody, are you allowed to glance at your side mirrors while backing up, or do you have to stop before doing so? Cody, no, you can definitely glance in your side mirrors. That's really great if you can do that. I heard from someone that you only need to look through the rear window every vehicle length when backing up. Is this true? No, Cody, you need to look for the majority of your backing up. You need to be looking out the back window. You can check your side mirrors, and every vehicle length, what I tell students is to just pause, stop the vehicle, do a 360-degree scan, make sure that your driving environment hasn't changed, no road users have moved into your space, and then look out the back window and continue to back up. Okay, so that's how you do that. Killerman, when I passed my test, I never got nervous, but I was intimidated by the examiner staring me down while looking left and right, trying to pull onto the road from the lot. Yes, and that's not unusual. And Jennifer, this might help you out. There is Sam, driving lessons by Big Mac Sam, and he works at Rookie Auto Driving School. I can't say that today. Rookie Auto Driving School. There we go, in the Bronx, and he is here. So where was I going? Yes. Okay. So that what Killerman was saying about road test. One of the other things you need to do when the driving examiner gets in the vehicle is you need to tune them out. And one of the things that I used to do for my students when I knew they were getting close to the road test was I used to do what I called the distraction lesson, where Most of the time, if students were doing complex maneuvers and those types of things, and we were working on some stuff, as we were working up to stuff, I wouldn't talk too much. But on road test prep day, when we're really getting ready for the last road test, and this is exactly what Killerman and what Jennifer is talking about in terms of driving examiners getting in the car, and you're super nervous because you don't know this person, you don't have a relationship with this person, and they're just, they're deciding your fate. Your fate of the world, so they're freaking you out. So what I used to do as a driving instructor, I used to call it my distraction lesson. And like 2 or 3 lessons, or the last lesson before the road test, I would take my student out and I would just yammer away the whole time. And I would talk to them and I'd crack jokes and I'd tell all kinds of stories, and it would force the student to focus. And this is what you need to do, is that you kind of need to go into your zone and you need to focus on what you're doing. Don't focus on what the driving examiner is doing. Don't focus on what the driving examiner is writing down. Don't even look at the driving examiner. Just focus on what you're doing. Know that you have the confidence. Know that you have the skills and abilities. You've done all the work that you need to do to pass your road test. Just go into that zone and focus on doing what you need to do to pass your road test. You're going to be nervous. Yes, just breathe. Know that that's going to happen, and focus in on what you're doing for the purposes of your road test so you can be successful. All right? Okay, thanks, Sam. Sam was complimenting me on using road users. Yes, because it's not just other vehicles on the road. It's pedestrians, cyclists, riders of motorcycles, people on scooters, those kinds of things, people delivering parcels and those types of things. So it's road users. It's not just other vehicles that you have to look out for the purposes of learning how to drive and passing your road test. That's an excellent point. All right, Jaden, I called my fire chief buddy, and by the way, I got a drone from Santa, but my fire chief, but he said it's okay to take my drone to emergency calls. Excellent, so you can get some footage. That would be really great. Okay, Jennifer, how can I control the car every time I make a left turn or right turn, especially I'm always too close to the car, or I'm in the middle of, my instructor always tells me I need to work on turning. Okay, so Jennifer, one of the things I would suggest for you in terms of turning and better controlling the vehicle for the purposes of your road test is go back and look at that video on learning how to drive. Go just revisit the fundamentals in a parking lot. Go and get some of those 36-inch 1 meter tall pylons. Go into the parking lot and just practice driving around them, and that will help you out and get you back to the fundamentals of driving. So do that, and that will help you out to better control the vehicle for the purposes of passing your road test. All right? Okay. So we're just going to finish up here. We're just about near the end. The last few minutes of passing your road test again. So if you're watching on the replay, you're new to Smart Drive Test, consider subscribing. Consider giving it a thumbs up, sharing around on social media and those types of things. And again, Smart Drive Test helps new drivers pass a road test, veteran drivers to remain crash-free, and CDL drivers to start a career as a truck or bus driver. So if you are going for a license, look down in the description there and head over to the Smart Drive Test website and pick up your Pass Your Road Test checklist. It'll give you a checklist of things you need to do on road test day and will help you to be successful on your road test, okay? And as well, there's lots of other good information over there that will help you out to be successful on your road test. All right, so we're going to end up... we're going to wind that up here. I don't think we have any more questions, and I think we've gone over most of the stuff. And again, if you have any questions or whatnot, leave us a comment here, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Congratulations to all of the people in the last week who have passed a road test, and good luck to those people who have a road test coming up in the next week. More than happy to help you out. All the best. Happy New Year, and congratulations on getting through into 2019, and all the best with all your New Year's resolutions. We wish you all the best, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Bye now.